Okay, here we go on a Tuesday, everybody. Thanks for joining us here, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. I'm here in Studio B in the capital city of Montgomery. Barry down in Troy. How's it going today, Barry?
Going well. I had a chance yesterday to speak to a young group last night, a young group of junior ROTC members on the campus at Troy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, John does a lot of this as well. John was the, I don't know if MC is the right word, but John was the official master of ceremonies at the Special Olympics the other night. And, I get it. Our demographic is surprisingly young for people of our age. John and I are no longer, no longer young adults, but we skew towards the younger demographic.
Yeah.
People say, man, why do the young viewers and listeners love you guys? I said, because I think we're the same age, basically. But for all of you grown up, old, gray haired, get out of my lawn kind of guys out there, the world's different. We're going to Hades in a handbasket and everything. I'm here to tell you we're not.
Well, we're young at heart.
Just fine. As far as
I think so too. I think
are
we got some really good ones out there in the younger demographic.
Yep.
Very happy and pleased about that. And of course,
yeah.
Barry, we're just young at heart. That's why we fit in with that younger demographic. We're still hip and cool. And, we relate to some of the stuff they do. Now, I'm not on my phone 24 hours a day like a lot of these young ones are.
Well,
but besides that, age is just a number. Been saying it forever. Now, people have always told me, why don't you act your age? And I'm thinking, why would I do that?
Well, number one, what is acting your age? I mean, what should I not like the things that I like and do that? I mean, it's just this is just who I am. You mentioned that, and the very nice lady who helped coordinate all of this. This is tons of people, not just from Alabama, tons of young people, 9th and 10th graders yesterday in from the NJROTC, the junior ROTC programs. They're here all week. They got here Sunday. They'll leave on Saturday. And I mean, they're out right now. They've been up since 5:30 this morning. I was their motivational speaker last night. And the lady who's involved with it has been a friend of mine for a long time. Her name is Kim Sellers, and she's awesome. I was saying, are they getting used to it? Are they getting used to the grind and everything? She said, what the hard part is when they get on campus on Sunday, we take their phones. And we don't give them back until Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And they're starting to kind of get used to that they got a free moment. They're sitting there going,
I like that.
I don't have I'm then thinking, man, I'd have a hard time without my phone for that long, for goodness sakes. So
yeah, man, that would be kind of, I mean, how could you fire down on the Phantom's daily dog without your phone? I mean,
that's exactly right. There's how could you check on whether or not that NBA Finals line moved ahead of the Phantom's upcoming pick,
And by Thursday, you got to know who Range Pro's got in the upcoming PGA event. I mean,
that's exactly right. Which dovetails into nicely. There's a lot of things we're on the cusp of in the world of sports. The U.S. Open.
Oh, yeah.
Is, not this week, but next.
Correct.
But this is when all of the qualifying, John knows better than I do how this works. The U.S. Open is just that. It is open, right?
It is.
So the qualifying actually began in began in April. And you've got there's 156 golfers at the U.S. Open. Yeah, those are the spots. A little over half of the golfers competing next week at Oakmont or are in the field because, they won on the tour or being highly ranked in the latest rankings. Those are the golfers that But 65 spots are reserved for those who emerged from a series of qualifiers. Local qualifying began in April. 10,000 golfers competing across 110 sites. Anyone with an 0.4 handicap or better was allowed to sign up.
Yep.
Now, that's cool as heck. Final qualifying kicked off May. There's a Troy golfer who was attempting to qualify, a couple of them, actually. One of them named Brantley Scott, we've talked about before. Auburn had a golfer who ended up qualifying. Jackson Coyven qualified for the U.S. Open. They had final qualifying in May with events in Texas and Japan and England. But Monday was the day. Yesterday was the day.
Yep.
18 golfers qualified in May. They just tore it up. Another 47 earned their spots on Monday across North America, including the Duke University campus, Canoe Brook in Summit, New Jersey, Wine Valley in Walla Walla, Washington. That's
what makes it so
this
unique.
Is what I love.
Yeah, if you've got that handicap, as you said, 0.04 or better, you can qualify. And if you cut the mustard, make it through all the qualifying rounds, you could be teeing it up at Oakmont for the U.S. Open. That's, why they call it the Open. And it's the national championship of golf. We've had this discussion many times before. What's more prestigious? Which would you rather win? I know Masters people cringe when I say this. I'd much rather win the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind having a green jacket. But I think the U.S. Open, I think the field is more difficult. It's stronger. And you're the national champion. Barry, I've had some friends that have tried to qualify. They have not made it, but they've gone through the process because they're qualifying sites in the state of Alabama. And it's more of, I think certainly in the back of their mind, they're thinking, I can do this. I'd love to make it to the Open. Realistically, they know they probably will not, but they go through the process and what it takes and to know at least they tried to qualify. I did see something yesterday. I sent this to my buddy over in Atlanta last night. Usually every fall in October, I play in an event over in Atlanta with a really good friend of mine that I grew up with. Well, his club was a qualifying site for the U.S. Open, and a young man who will be a freshman on the Georgia golf team in 2 years shot back-to-back 9 under 63s.
His name is Mason Howell, and by gosh, if that's not a golfer's name, I don't know what is.
If it was only Mason
63 in Atlanta, he's in high school.
Yeah, if it was only Mason Howell III, that'd make it even better.
Mason Howell has qualified for the U.S. Open. So when he goes with his book report in his junior homeroom or something like that next fall, what I did during the summer, I played in the U.S. Open with Ricky Fowler. No, I think he beat Ricky Fowler in one of the playoff deals or something like that. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I sent that clip to my buddy. I said, sounds like your course is getting a little too easy. But man, this kid, 63, I played that track many a time. I don't have a 63 in me. Maybe on the front 9 if I'm lucky. But some of the names, there were some names there, Barry, that, you mentioned Ricky Fowler, several others that were trying to qualify. As a matter of fact, one of them, I can't recall his name off the top of my head, was actually carrying his own bag.
It's Max Homa. Max Homa did that. This kid, Cameron Young, former world number 13, he kind of fell off the map. He beat Max Homa and Ricky Fowler in a playoff.
Wow.
In Columbus, Ohio to qualify. So, I mean, playoff to see if you're going to play in the U.S. Open, and Cameron Young win it. Max Howell. No, not Max Howell. Max Howell's a buddy of ours. Yeah. Max Homa, who's won $43 million on the PGA Tour, 6-time PGA Tour winner. He's at that qualifier in Columbus, Ohio, 36 holes carrying his own bag. 63 is really impressive. Firing off a second 63 on your second 18 of the day. Whew, John. That's pretty strong.
That's pretty good, particularly for a young man that age.
Just
pretty
got out
impressive.
of 10th grade.
Yeah. Got a pretty good future, I would suspect. So good for him. The Open will be coming up at Oakmont. Looking forward to that. That's always a lot of fun. Range Pro's already on it. He's already texted me back. Love the shout out early this morning, but he said, I don't have my picks for this week just yet. I say, hey, man, just take your time. Like a fine wine. In no hurry.
No hurry.
We get them before they put that first peg in the ground on Thursday. We'll be good to go.
Or before we, leave the air on Thursday.
Yeah.
Also, the super regionals have been set. There were a couple of the regionals that had to go an extra day because the one-loss team actually beat the undefeated team to force another playoff. So the regionals are set. I'm sorry, the super regionals are set. Murray State comes out of the Oxford regional. Murray State, the Racers, former school that Mark Gottfried coached at. Murray State. That was in the Oxford regional with Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, and Western Kentucky. Murray State won. The Murray State was all that. They they were leading Ole Miss something like 11-5 in yesterday's winner take all match in Oxford. They ended up winning it. I think it was 14-13, and they advance. One of the regionals is going to be Duke and Murray State. This is what I love about the regionals. A lot of schools that people don't know about. UT San Antonio in Austin comes out of that regional. They beat Texas twice, I believe.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Including yesterday. They played Texas 3 times this year, and Texas San Antonio was 3-0 against Texas. How about that?
That's pretty impressive. Of course, Texas so dominant during the regular year.
Yeah.
Tough postseason. So how does that open things up for the Auburn Tigers, who are going super regional baseball? Is it too early to go with? Well, it looks like the field's pretty diluted to me. Should we?
Obviously, it's a down year in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, I know how he'll go.
Is it too early for that?
The takeaways from this: number one, Coastal Carolina was a winner. They hosted the regional. They're the champions of the Sun Belt. Troy beat them 2 out of 3 this year. Coastal Carolina comes to Auburn. A couple of things that are interesting about that. Auburn comes in as the number 4 national seed. This is the first time Auburn has ever hosted a super regional.
No way.
I did not know that.
Wow,
we said something to it last week to Jason Caldwell. Number 2, Auburn fans, salute. You guys showed up and showed out. That place was packed. Auburn,
so I guess
Auburn
it's also
too
soon to say what else you're going to do in Auburn. But I'm not going there. I'm not going to go there.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not going
Auburn,
there.
In that regional, never trailed.
Oh, boy,
they never were behind anybody ever. So they host Coastal Carolina, who comes in from Conway. Coastal Carolina, really, really good. Seen him with my own eyes, seen Auburn with my own eyes. That'll be an interesting matchup. Auburn is one of just a handful of SEC teams that made it through. There were 13 SEC teams that made it into the tournament. I think that's a record. There are only 4 left.
Ooh,
one of the regionals is 2 SEC teams against each other. That's Arkansas and Tennessee. Auburn is in. They take on Coastal Carolina. LSU against West Virginia. LSU was down 5-1 in a winner-take-all game yesterday against Little Rock, and they ended up winning it. And the other one, that's it. LSU, Auburn, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Out of 13 teams in the SEC, only 4 actually made it out of the region.
Tighten up in that baseball. Yeah. Hey, John, Toddy's with 2 Ds. It's Toddy, like Toddy with 2 Ds. And Oklahoma softball's out, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Texas Tech walked them off, the four-time defending champion Oklahoma Sooners. Interesting story there. They will take on Texas. It's an all Texas final, Texas Tech and Texas. The interesting thing there is that Texas Tech, their head coach is a guy named Jerry Glasgow, who used to be the head coach at Louisiana. So I'm familiar with him. He goes to Texas Tech. They have loaded up softball with NIL. They got that oil money. Their football team going to be really good this year at Texas Tech. They have got a lot of NIL money. A lot of guys signing with Texas Tech.
$1 million pitcher?
That's exactly $1 million plus. Yeah. Can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she came in, I want to say from Stanford, where she was like the national pitcher of the year, left Stanford to go to, what did Tuberville call it? It was like
Iraq or something.
Iraq, or Afghanistan or something like that. They have got a loaded NIL roster, and they're reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
So they play Texas in the Women's College World Series finals.
Money
which
talks.
John and I have both said we're pro softball.
I do like the softball, no doubt. All right, when we come back, I got to get a explanation, a definition, if you will, about something I saw today. We'll get into that. Also, bottom of this hour, Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com. We'll talk to Bryan about Auburn and the Super Regional, among other things. A lot of recruiting news as well. Travis Reier on YouTube will join us at the top of the next hour. I did get in touch with our man, the money line magician, Josh Harris. He'll join us tomorrow after CJ Duncan from north of the border. He's back in Canada. So he missed his segment yesterday due to some technical difficulties on our end, but we got that corrected, and Josh will join us tomorrow from Vancouver, Canada. So that should be interesting.
Whoa, right now, that's a long way off.
Joe, we're going to get to it when we return.
Yep, Travis Reier a little bit later on from Talkin Tide and Reier on YouTube. Plus, a lot of input from you on our River Region Straw Chat line. Call Kenny 669-5959. We're underway. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Ford announces employee pricing on every new 24 and most new 25 Fords, and only at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, up to $5,000 below employee pricing, plus no payments for 90 days. From America, for America, at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, home of America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row, the F-150, with hundreds to choose from. The Ford Escape, the Ford Edge, and the Ford Bronco, all priced at thousands below invoice. And pack up the crew in a Ford Expedition or a Ford Explorer for the beach, the lake, or the big game. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. All right, about 20 minutes past the hour on this Tuesday, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Also, our good friends at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. You can check us out there along with all the latest news, politics, lifestyles, and sports. Yellowhammernews.com. There's a write-up about the show each and every afternoon. Great folks there at Yellowhammer. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, X. So many ways to check us out. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Now, Barry, I've always known you to be a smart guy. I know, I got to tell you.
Setup. This is a setup.
I really don't know what football power index is all about and what goes into it. It's kind of like QBR. Yeah. Sounds good. If you're up there pretty high, something must be going right. I don't know. But football power index, is it just because we're this time of year? Let's just come up with something and get people all geeked up and excited and throw some mumbo jumbo out there that sounds smart and people will buy it. I don't know. I don't know what goes.
Sounds like our
FPI.
Approach.
Yeah.
Sounds like what we
goes
do.
Into the FPI.
It's a measure of team strength that is meant to be the best predictor of a team's performance. The football power index.
Well, I'm looking at the FPI that was released recently. And Alabama fans, I guess, should be excited about what I'm about to tell you. Because 2025 FPI National Championship odds. Alabama has the fourth best odds to win the national championship. Only one of four teams with a double-digit percentage to win it.
I actually have them tied for the third best odds.
No,
but
I got it at fourth.
All right, let's see. The latest I'm looking at, Texas, then Georgia.
Yep. Ohio
Are you
State.
looking at to make the national championship game
Top
or to
teams,
win the national championship?
Top teams by 2025. Excuse me. Top teams by 2025 FPI National Championship odds. This is at ESPN.com. Alabama has a 10.4% chance championship percentage. That's Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas are ahead of them.
Yeah. I got them all, but maybe I got the latest or something. I've got those same four, but
yeah, and that's another thing about these odds. The way that they, chances to win it, chances to make it, chances to get in against so and so. They give you a lot of categories. Yeah, I don't need all that mumbo jumbo. Just who's going to win it. I know you got so many column inches you got to fill. Don't give me all this junk. Just tell me who's going to win. So
here's what I don't buy about it. Pretty good
odds.
I don't buy this about it. Number one, Alabama fans ain't going to be happy about that. Fourth best. Fourth. Mm-hmm. You kidding me? Fourth? Us?
After last year? I think they're going to be happy.
And it's the same usual suspects: Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Out of the college football power index I'm looking at, the first 6 teams, 3 from the SEC, 3 from the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then Notre Dame. That's what I'm looking at right there.
Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State, along with Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. Texas, though, Barry, is their percentage is twice as high as Alabama's.
Yeah. A little bit. So, you know what I think? Again, I got Texas around 24% to win the national championship. Alabama at 10.4.
Yeah.
There's Alabama fans looking at each other saying, Bubba, we only have a 10% chance of winning the national championship? This thing is obviously a bunch of, I agree with Longshore. What do you call it? Mumbo jumbo? Yeah, mumbo jumbo. John says there's too many numbers. He don't want all them numbers. Just give me what their chances are.
Yeah, the numbers don't bother me. It's just the different way they put them in different categories.
This is
I want one category. Who's getting in?
This is what my theory is about all that. They throw those numbers out at you. 34% chance to win the conference, 4.3% chance to win the conference, but 34% chance to make the playoffs. 7.3%. For some of those teams, I think they just make those numbers up.
Well, possibly.
I mean,
possibly.
Because if they come out with something and all it is like John wants, a big flashy Longhorn silhouette head, or that script Alabama A, which is the A with a mullet, or the interlocking ND, or the Miami U, on each one of those things with a big flashy number that says 10%. I don't know.
Come on.
Italics, maybe it's in bold, maybe it's in the color of the team color that they're doing and everything like that. People will look at it and say, wow, this is really cool. They're appealing to the lowest common denominator.
Don't confuse me with a bunch of junk.
What they're doing is they're trying to add legitimacy by saying Alabama's projected win-loss total 9.6 and 2.8. They're rounded up. They're predicted to go 10-3.
Yeah.
3.9% chance to win out. The odds of getting to 6 wins, 98 point. They're throwing a bunch of numbers out at you. They don't know. They throw those numbers out at you. It's not like, Alabama's going to go 9-3. That's not what they want. They want to say 9.6 and 2.8 and 98.5% swing percentage, and the playoff 66.2% chance or whatever. They're saying, wow, that sounds legit. 66.2. Ooh.
They've lost me there. I'm not even look. That's like looking at Phillips' article. And, nope, not interested in that section. No, don't care. So what? Oh, look at this. Now this looks pretty good. Well, and teams most likely to win the 2025 national championship. That's what I want to know. I don't care how they get there. But give me the numbers that says the teams that are most likely to win it. Alabama at 10.4%, which, as I mentioned, is less than half of what Texas's percentage is at 22.2%. But they are in the 4th spot. Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas just ahead of Alabama. You mentioned the other Big Ten teams, Penn State, Oregon are there, Clemson and Miami, not too far behind Notre Dame. Tennessee in the 10th spot at 2.3%. Who's their quarterback going to be? And I know what you're asking here. I know what everybody's screaming at the screen, screaming at their radio speaker. Where is Auburn? I got it for you.
The number I have for Auburn, let's first of all go with chances to win the national championship.
Chances to win the national champion. Well, they phrase it most likely to win the national championship.
Auburn.
If you're in a court of law, you got to make sure you phrase it right.
This is what I've got. ESPN, FPI, ASAP. 1.1%.
Hey.
Which is that meme from Lloyd Christmas. So you're telling me we've got a chance? 1.1%, baby. Here we go. Or was it Harry Dunn? No, it was Lloyd Christmas.
I look at it in a more positive way.
You always do.
Auburn's in the top 15 of teams listed at number 14.
Yeah.
Right ahead of Michigan, South Carolina, Oklahoma, SMU, Florida, and Kansas State. Auburn at 14 with a 1.1% chance. So, yes, you're right. They do have a chance to win the 25 national championship at the 14th position. I mean, that's pretty dadgum good. I'm impressed. In a group of some very recognizable teams that are ahead of them, that they're in a pretty unique group. Notre Dame, Clemson, Oregon, Alabama, Penn State, Ohio State. It could go on and on. What about this, though? I thought this was very interesting. Group of 5 teams with the highest playoff odds.
Yep.
The Raging Cajuns of Louisiana have the best odds in the Sun Belt.
Oh, I don't know. Lost a lot through the transfer portal. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got it 4.1%. That one kind of surprised me a little bit.
Boise State Troy this year
with the highest odds to make it of a group of 5. There's Boise again.
This is what I look at before we go to break. This is what I look at. John looks at, hey, where's Auburn? Where's Alabama? Who are the Blue Bloods? Where are they and all that?
Yeah.
There are 130 teams, I think, now in Division 1A football. And I'm looking at the bottom. Just a touch over half of those programs, including UCLA, Florida State, Colorado, Boston College, and North Carolina, chances to win the national championship, 0.
Yeah.
0. Over half. They're saying
tough.
right now, analytically, you got no shot. None.
Yeah. Vandy, Mississippi State, Kentucky, teams that Texas and Tennessee have on their schedule. Arkansas as well. I didn't see where they were listed. Yep. Bottom of the barrel there. Should Bama fans be concerned about this, though, Barry? The biggest risers and fallers in FPI entering 2025. Florida State's in the number 2 position at plus 39. Looks like some big improvements in Tallahassee. Is that the Gus Malzahn factor?
Only way to go is up for that team. Well,
I guess so.
Yeah. I just like the fact that they give you fractions of percentages, which makes you think, oh, they must really know what they're talking about. No. They're just doing it just to impress you, just to cook the numbers a little bit.
Later on today, this is another category. How do they project this? Most anticipated games of 2025 based on projected FPI ratings. So they throw all these ratings into a big pot, stir them up, and say, hey, these are the best games that are going to be played this fall.
John's just a natural skeptic. You should have heard him before we got on the air, because he always talks to him. John does play-by-play of his life as you go, oh, what's this? Geez, who sent me this email? What is this about? All right, let me. Okay, fill up, blah, 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 4-star defensive tackle, none of that. Let's see.
Kirk McNair, Kirk McNair, blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
John, he's just looking because he's just wanting to kind of get the lay of the land, see if there's anything he's missing before we get the real lowdown from Bryan Matthews.
Well, but you're right. And I tell you, Barry, it all started years ago when USA Today hit the boxes. You could go put your quarter in there, and they wrote in quick, to the point stories.
Yeah,
you can read the USA Today newspaper in 20 minutes, the whole thing, every section.
All right,
they didn't give you some long, drawn out column. Just boom, here's the points, done, move on.
I'm wanting to go to break, but John keeps bringing up things. I got an email yesterday. The Montgomery Advertiser, no longer selling them on the streets. They are just you can get them mailed to you. They'll mail you a copy if you want one.
Should I have known this?
You can't get it at the drugstore. You can't get them in the.
I have not seen a paper, whatever box machine in a decade.
It used to start his day up so right. Cup of coffee, go out there, steal his neighbor's Montgomery Advertiser. The neighbor hadn't taken the Advertiser in the little rolled up rubber band thing in forever. Let's take a break.
I didn't even know the Advertiser was still a thing. They got rid of some guy, Barry, that was doing a handicap column for him years ago, and I thought the paper was going under at that point.
When we come back, Bryan Matthews, AuburnSports.com, will join us big times on the plains these days. He's next. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch, Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
All right, about 25 minutes at the top of the hour on this Tuesday. That means our man Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com, joining us here on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Bryan, thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well today.
I am. Good morning, guys. Good to be back on.
I had the chance over the weekend to check out 2 full Auburn baseball games, North Carolina State and the Stetson game. Plainsman Park was nuts. Brian, how Auburn swept through the regional, never trailed. I think Brian in his BMAT's Monday musings at auburnsports.com said Auburn outscored all of their regional opponents something like 29-11. How much did the crowd factor in, do you think?
I think it is starting to factor in because the coaches and the players keep talking about what a difference it makes, and I think they're excited about the atmosphere they could have this weekend for the Super Regional. Auburn keeps, breaking attendance records. They broke them all season, and then they broke the 3-game series record over the weekend. So absolutely, it's making a difference, and I think it's really making a difference for the first time in program history. Plainsman Park's always been beautiful, a great place to play, but it's never been an atmosphere where I think opposing teams, kind of have that fear factor like other places. But I think that's starting to change now.
I thought the point that you made in your article was really impactful. I mean, everybody knows what Ike Irish can do. Everybody knows Guevara's had a great year, and Cooper McMurray and all that. A lot of the in postseason, you got to have people rise to the occasion, right? Bub Terrell's one of my favorite names. He's a freshman. I've always thought he's a good-looking hitter. Goodness gracious, he was insane this weekend, but he wasn't the only one, Brian.
He wasn't. Andres Alvarez, another freshman, pitched that terrific game. Game 3 to clinch the title there. Outstanding against NC State. And they had some guys in the lineup and the pitching staff. Cade Fitcher, been a starter all year, has been in the bullpen the last few weeks, was terrific coming in there in relief of Alvarez. They just had guys up and down that order starting to step up, which is what you need. I don't think there's a dominating team in this tournament left. Or I'm not sure there was to begin with. There's a bunch of really good teams, and it's going to be the team that gets the hottest during this postseason, the one that has more guys step up that's going to make that run. And it could be Coastal Carolina. They're coming in on a 21-game winning streak this week. And so this is going to be a very tough matchup for Auburn.
13 SEC teams made it. Only 4 remained. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it really does. SEC was a pretty dominant conference, had a great out-of-conference schedule, a great RPI. And they got beat up a little bit, I feel like, in the postseason so far. We'll see how many advance. I know I think Arkansas and Tennessee are playing each other, so I think the most that can make it are 3, which I think would be a little letdown. I think it's become almost commonplace for half the field to be SEC teams. It's not always that way, but it feels like it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's no guarantee other than just Tennessee or Arkansas that's on a guaranteed spot in the World Series.
We probably asked you this question during the course of our visits with you over the last 3 months or so, but you've always talked about how impressed you are with the work and the legacy and the body of evidence from Bruce Pearl with the basketball program. Similarities with Butch Thompson with baseball and what he's been able to do without getting to the huge stage yet.
Yeah, very much so. 2 College World Series during his tenure here. First time ever hosting a Super Regional this weekend. Certainly has taken this program up to a higher level more consistently, than some other coaches. But I don't think he's had I don't think Auburn baseball was 108 years of being really, really average to poor to where it is now. I think he's sort of added to the legacy of a Hal Baird and some other guys that came through, a Paul Nix back in the day, where I feel like Bruce Pearl has just completely built Auburn into a national power. But both coaches, you go back and look at the hires that Jay Jacobs did. That was two of the best hires during my time at Auburn, for sure.
So just the transition from last year to this year, I know we've talked a lot about it recently, but man, I mean, what a turnaround.
Yep, and he relied on some freshmen. He had the decision to make there, knew he had a really good number 4 class in the country coming in. Should he go out and get, some more proven guys in the portal to fill these spots, or should he give these freshmen a legit shot to win jobs and to show their talent? And he went with the latter, a little bit more risky, but it's definitely paid off. And Bub Terrell, Chris Rembert, Chase Freilich, Christian Chatterton, and Andres Alvarez have not played like freshmen here lately, because of what they've been able to accomplish this year.
I think this is maybe, and I've seen both of these teams, obviously, with my own 2 eyes. Troy wins 2 out of 3 against Coastal Carolina. That's the only series they've lost all year. And Brian points out they haven't lost a game at all in the last 21 that they played.
Wow.
Sneaky series because, Coastal Carolina wins the national championship, 9 years ago.
Right.
So it's a legit program. But if they get through that, and I think they can, being at home is a huge deal. I'm looking around, Brian, and I got to tell you, I'm thinking Auburn can win the whole thing, right?
I think you could say that about every team left. I really do. And I just don't see a team that's going to be a clear favorite of the 16 remaining teams. I mean, Auburn's one of the top national seeds left, but I don't think that makes them a favorite in any way, shape, or form, because I don't think Auburn is the number 4 team in the country necessarily. I think they earned that number 4 national seed because of their record and their RPI and all that stuff. But Coastal Carolina may be a better team coming in. Auburn may be able to beat them despite that. But I just think it's wide open, and it's just about who can get the hottest. Another guy I think really important for Auburn is Samuel Dutton. He had that tough finish of the season. I thought he came back and really battled and got Auburn through that Game 2 win against who I thought was a really good, solid Stetson team that played well all weekend. And, kind of ran out of pitching there against NC State on Sunday.
Barry, sounds like they need to stock up on some toilet paper over there in the Auburn area.
It's still a little work to do. All right, I thought it was great. Dutton had to kind of rein it in a little bit. He was getting squeezed by the home plate umpire, and he was
fired up.
Yeah, he was. And the crowd got him fired up as well. I noticed that, again, on Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com, as you see on the crawl down below at the bottom of the screen, BMAT's Monday Musings, you had a picture of several of the Auburn basketball players, men's basketball players, who were there in attendance, which leads to 2 questions. Number one, were there a lot of football recruits in the crowd that you know of as well from a big weekend? And number 2, as far as the basketball picture you saw, who are those guys?
10 newcomers. So I don't even know who they all are yet. I need to go over there and watch some summer workouts just to, put eyes to names. And I don't know if they brought any of the official visitors over. Most of them had left around lunchtime, and then Auburn had a camp. An elite camp that afternoon. So the football program is really busy doing all this recruiting and camping stuff while this other stuff is going on. And, they had another great group of visitors. I think a lot of college recruiting situations are in kind of limbo until the House settlement goes through. They don't know what will be available as far as money, NIL type stuff for these players. So they're kind of just holding back on making any promises until that's kind of settled. So we'll see, but Auburn's going to have more visitors this week and this weekend. And I think players are going to start making decisions regardless here, starting up late June and into July.
Okay.
You mentioned the House settlement. I'm curious, Brian, if you just sensed a change in recruiting by maybe the way that the recruits, the players handle it or look at it, the way the schools look at it? Is it just a different way of going about it. Back in the day, it was all this, whining and dining and we love you and come see us and blah, 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 blah. But these kids are a lot smarter and there's a lot more into it now financially than there ever was. I just feel like the way it plays out in recruiting is just so different.
It is. And for some of them, it's a straight transactional decision, right? Who's going to give me the most money? Who's going to offer me the most? So that's a big part of it now. And I think that's slowing things down because schools don't know how much they can offer and how much money they'll have available. So, that's happening right now. And they were hoping to get this done and start the era of I can't even think of the word now, of money sharing. July
revenue sharing.
Revenue sharing. Thank you.
Revenue sharing.
Revenue sharing.
I was up late all weekend, like 1, 2
I can
a.m.
imagine.
So I'm still bouncing back here.
Well, with all that being said, I wanted to ask you this. I actually had a brainstorm to ask you this the other day, and I wrote it down. If you can just totally flip your perspective instead of, I think you've been, covering Auburn for 25 years and, you've talked to recruits and you've canvassed, names and numbers and, you've written about them and you've talked to them and all of that, football recruits specifically. If you kind of flipped around in this day and age and you had an opportunity to be an advisor to one of them, and, maybe a 4-star, maybe not the number one player in the country, but a good solid 4-star that a lot of schools are after. What would be your, again, not looking at it from your perspective, but looking at it from the best interests of the young man, what would your advice be during the recruiting process? What's important, do you think, from their perspective?
I think with the transfer portal, the best advice I would give a kid today is to go somewhere where you can play. Because if you're an SEC player, or think you are, would you like to go to an SEC school and sit there for 3 years and maybe have to transfer down? Or would you like to go to Troy, for instance, or South Alabama, play right away, prove yourself, and then move up? I think that's for a lot of kids. Of course, there are the elite guys, the 4-stars, the 100, top 100, the 5-stars. Go where you feel the most comfortable. Go where they're offering the much a good package, and go where you can win, right? Nobody sits around with their grandkid on their knee and talks about all the money they made at college. They talk about their experiences, right? And for football players, they want to talk about winning and winning championships. So go somewhere where you have that opportunity. Don't devalue that opportunity to win and be successful.
Here's what we're seeing on the other side of the coin, and I totally agree with you, but you've got players at group of 5 schools who are playing, who are good group of 5 productive players and are playing that are getting, I don't want to say lured because they're in charge of making their decisions, but they'll go to an Ole Miss or they'll go to a Texas for the NIL money.
Yep.
And they're never going to play. And maybe they realize, look, I'm not going to play in the NFL. I better get the money I can while I can. And they go to a place where, they're starting at Troy or they're starting at South Alabama. They're second string at best at some of these Power 4 schools. And like you said before, it's strictly a transactional thing out there.
Maybe if you paid your dues, you graduated, maybe you're in your 4 or 5, sounds great. But if you just want to play ball, right, and have these great life experiences, go where you can play ball. Don't go just sit on the bench so you can pull in some money. If you're 21 or 22 years old, most of that money's going to be disappearing here pretty fast anyway, right? I know it would have back in my day, right?
Mine too. Yeah,
I'm not sure they think
that's solid advice.
I'm not sure they think of it that way, that the money will ever disappear, or they're not going to make it to the next level.
Right.
think there's a lot of them that still believe that they're going to be the next great NBA or NFL star. What about the academic side, Bryan? I mean, with all this NIL and transferring and all this type business, is there any time for academics, or is that even a thing anymore?
I think academics and student athlete have been a big lie for a number of years, right? I mean, we've seen what scandals. Well, Auburn's been involved in it. I think the Auburn student athletes are all interdisciplinary studies, whatever that is. I don't know that. No offense, but I don't know a lot of companies are hiring interdisciplinary graduates. Maybe I'm completely wrong there. I apologize, but and I think it's like that at just about every Power 4 school in the country, and it has been that way for decades upon decades.
Yep.
So I think it's been amateurism and all that has been the great big lie for years. Going to school and getting the degree, blah blah blah. Yes, some kids do it, and yes, they deserve all the credit in the world for it, but the majority are just there to play sports, and it's been that way for decades. That did not just start in the last 5 years.
Well, just to be completely honest, Brian, I went back and got my degree, and I graduated in 2020 in interdisciplinary studies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh no. See, now I've done it.
Which absolutely suits you for a career as a sports talk radio host.
I already had the job. It's already had a job. Okay. So it's not like I was out looking for one, but
if they'd have had an interdisciplinary studies major when I was in school, man, I'd have hit that thing hard.
And the reason it took me till 2020, it wasn't just athletics and academics; it was frat boys and academics that didn't mesh real well.
Well,
40 years ago.
I got a degree in finance, and I'm writing about sports. So you just never know where your life is going to take you, right?
I will tell you this though: when people go, "What'd you graduate in?" Interdisciplinary studies. They go, "Oh yeah, wow, man, that's interesting. Wow, that's awesome."
Yeah, it's not like you can open an interdisciplinary studies store.
It's a great conversation starter, Brian. I promise you. Really, to tell me a little bit about that? Oh man, it was great. Let me tell you.
All right, my final question here. As of yesterday, the National Football Foundation announced all of the candidates for the 2026 class of the College Football Hall of Fame. They're on the ballot.
Yep.
3 of them from Auburn. Tommy Tuberville was on the ballot last year. Takeo Spikes was on the ballot last year. Takeo's a College Football Hall of Famer.
Yes, of course, yes.
Those guys were on the ballot last year. They're on again this year from Auburn. First time on the ballot, Cam Newton.
What
do you think, Brian?
Yeah. I mean,
is Cam a College Football Hall of Famer in your I'm holding Brian's feet squarely on the fire right now.
I mean, I covered Cam for that incredible year. And if you go back throughout my career, I'm not sure there's one player who's had a bigger impact on one school to win the national championship that Cam Newton did on Auburn. I just don't know if you could pick that player out, right?
But it's 1 year.
Right. But still.
I mean, is there a criteria? Does it have to be more than 1 year?
Nope.
Well, I'm about to say, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, and then, won the national championship, won the Heisman, first overall pick,
Davey O'Brien Award, Manning Award, what all those Maxwell, Walter Camp, all that kind of stuff as well.
And the other two, I mean, certainly Tuberville's an interesting case, but he did have some terrific seasons here at Auburn, and then had the career at Ole Miss and some other places after Auburn. And then who was the other one?
Takeo,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I got to watch Takeo play a good portion of his career. He was incredible. Out of Georgia, that big thick neck, he would just destroy players. And back in the day, you could hit him a little bit harder than you can now, right? And I'm sure there's still some people remembering that.
Takeo's one of the only players I've ever seen who wore a football helmet just because it was required.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let him play without one, but he could have.
And don't forget, Cam had to endure a 10, 15-minute suspension? I mean, come on. I mean, you
I think it was 10.
That.
I think it was 10.
You get through that. That is definitely college.
Well, I mean, he had to listen to Preacher Man, over there on the field for like 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, that was devastating to him. I don't know how. It took him a whole half to bounce back from that, John. What are you saying?
No kid, go on and take the money and run, and then they fired that guy. They got rid of him. I'm thinking, I thought that's kind of creative. I mean, come on. But I mean, to endure all that. Definitely College Football Hall of Fame material, no doubt.
Absolutely,
no doubt.
Overcoming the odds.
My claim to fame at halftime. I looked at some of my friends and says, "Not too fast, boys. Words of the wolf, just like in Pulp Fiction. This game ain't over."
I love Bryan's contribution on the program every week. I love his work at auburnsports.com, and I love his musical journey.
Yes.
Comes up every Natalie Merchant.
Yep.
Back when that was a
fan of Natalie Merchant.
Yep.
And Bryan, back when that was a good series and something to watch on MTV before they started getting into this crazy stuff, I always enjoyed that
MTV
show.
Unplugged.
Yeah, I mean, the Nirvana one is historical in my opinion, and this was another great one. I listened to Because of the Night, this song that was recorded on this show on my playlist all the time. I think it's just a terrific production of a song, and a great song written by Bruce Springsteen, of course, first performed by Patti Smith. And we're going back 32 years of that, talking about Natalie Merchant. One of her final appearances with 10,000 Maniacs. She went and over the next few years had a terrific solo career with Tiger Lily, a great first album there. And maybe the most interesting thing about this journey I took was she went to an open mic audition for the band that became 10,000 Maniacs, and they hired her as a 17-year-old. Back in 1980, back in the day.
Well, 10,000 Maniacs may also describe Plainsman Park this weekend, every game of the Super Regional against Coastal Carolina. Coverage of that, coverage of everything having to do with recruiting, football, basketball, so much. A lot more sleepless nights probably in your future, Bryan. How do people get in touch with you and make sure that they don't miss a moment of it?
Yeah, and I'm going to learn more about interdisciplinary studies, so I can be more respectful of those.
I'll guide you through it, my man. Yeah, wow.
But check us out. We will have coverage of recruiting, baseball, basketball, you name it. The baseball portal opens up already, so that's even getting started. auburnsports.com. You can follow me on socials, BMATAU, and of course give Uncle Keith's Red Sauce a try. They sponsor those Monday musings. Terrific. Publix, Piggly Wiggly, Renfro, statewide. BMAT15 and get you 15% off that online order.
There you go. Thanks, Bryan.
Thank you, Bryan. Guys. Great stuff as always. Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com, joining us on our City of Montgomery guest hotline here this morning, auburnsports.com. Check it all out. Great info with a lot of baseball coverage this weekend, recruiting and all the like. Good stuff. Finite math. Ouch, man. But we made it through.
There you go. That's all that matters.
Interdisciplinary study. It doesn't say that on my degree. It does say Bachelor of Arts. Yeah. I've actually showed you that before.
You have. Yeah. And I had to come up with the $20, All right. I believe you. Here you go. You win. When we come back, Travis Reier on YouTube. Lots to get to with him. We're just about a break and maybe him coming up. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. And June is really a fun time out at Marguerite's, Marianne. The birthstone, I believe, is pearls, and I know you've got a lot of pearls.
Yes, we got them right here. So exciting. Lots of pearls. It's Pearl Month. Yes.
It is Pearl Month, and Marguerite's has plenty of pearls for you to check out. Also, June's a big month for weddings. It's wedding gifts, birth gift, push presents, I know are very popular as well. Tell us about some of those great ideas.
Sure. Well, guys, just so you're not caught off guard, there are certain expectations these days, or maybe not expectations. That sounds bad. But the person you love would definitely appreciate a gift for certain occasions, like a wedding gift, the wedding band, the engagement ring. Those are great, but just a little something that her maid of honor can hand her, and so she can unwrap it. It's a big picture situation. Write a sweet little letter, but we have those great gifts at Marguerite's, wedding day gifts. And ladies, if you're listening, we have great watches and cufflinks for guys too. The guys come in, think about it. Great classic gifts, something that they can remember from their wedding day. Diamond studs, a tennis bracelet, pearl earrings, pearl studs, those types of things. Just really great gifts, as well as push presents, which if your wife goes into labor, or granddads to be, if your daughter does, it's just a sweet gift to commemorate maybe their initial or their birthstone. We can help you. We have lots of great options in stock. And of course, we always can make it for you if you have something special in mind.
That's a great point, Marianne. Lots of great options. And Marianne just laid them all out there for you, folks. There are so many great jewelry items, so many great gift items for you to check out there at Mark Reed's Exquisite Jewelry. Let our viewers and listeners know, Marianne, where are you located there on Vaughn Road?
Sure. We're at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center. We're open 7 days a week. We are open 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
It's a big month out at Mark Reed's in June, so go by and see Marianne and all the staff at Mark Reed's Exquisite Jewelry. Hey, Marianne, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Along with John Longshore.
Momentarily. Okay. Looking forward to Travis's appearance here in just a moment, top of the hour, Tuesday morning. Great stuff from Bryan Matthews, as always.
Yeah, it's always good. We got a couple of thoroughly caffeinated chatters on line that are, really energetic, bringing the energy out there. Mm-hmm. We surely appreciate that. A little bit later on, it's the Phantom's Daily Dog. We are still 2 days away from the Phantom being able to dabble again in the NBA playoffs. We get to the final.
If we see something we like, we're not just going to automatically tell you we're jumping into the NBA pool unless we like it.
Yeah.
You don't do it just to do it. I know there's some people out there that do, and the Phantom doesn't recommend that.
I always get something down every day. I got it. They love
your bookie's dream if you're doing that. But I am kind of having
so nice. He always answers my call on the first ring. Why do you think that is?
That's trouble. If that is happening, I understand he's not taking Range Pros calls very quickly. A lot of ringing. That phone's ringing a lot. But anyway, I am having some withdrawals. I'm ready for some NBA action. It's been a great postseason run. Been some really good games, and I think this matchup, even though they're not marquee teams in marquee cities. Barry, you've tried to educate me over the years. Hey, they're great games. I mean, it doesn't have to be a helmet game and, blue blood. Come on, give these guys a chance.
Well, I learned from the Phantom during college football season more than anything else, because the Phantom, with the fabled Phantom 4.
Yeah.
Every once in a while he'll go with a big name, a featured matchup. Every once in a while you'd hear the Phantom say, look, Kent State, man, they are 0-11 right now. They're a 17-point underdog. Look, I ain't saying the Golden Flashes are going to beat Bowling Green. They're just going to get into the numbers, and everybody starts texting me. The Phantom must be struggling if he's picking a MAC game. I think struggling. A win is a win is a win. I mean, wherever you need to go, whatever stone you need to overturn, you got to find that winner.
It is one word, Barry: value. You're looking for value. What line is out of whack?
Which would you rather do? Lose the Georgia-Alabama game?
Come on.
Or win South Alabama versus Louisiana Monroe?
Barry, as long as you've known me, how many times have I picked games against the spread against Auburn or Alabama? And people are going crazy. Wait a minute. Why? What are you doing that for? I said,
you went to school there.
They might win the game. I just don't think they're going to win it by that much. I still don't like that. I want them to kill them. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Will you like it?
Will you like it when that envelope comes your way? Will you like that? Is that all right with you?
Never understood that mentality. All right, our man Travis Reier on YouTube, Talking Tide, joining us here today on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Hey, Travis, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing really well. Always appreciate the time and the visit. Have you been keeping up with the regionals, the baseball regionals? Is that something that's within your periphery, Travis?
Yeah, I have. Boy, it was an interesting Monday night, wasn't it?
Yes,
Ole Miss
it
going
was.
down at home to Murray State, fought back from that big deficit only to fall by a run, and then LSU being pushed to the brink by Arkansas Little Rock in Baton Rouge. It was it was a lot of fun over the weekend.
13 SEC teams made the NCAA tournament. Only 3 did not, but only 4 made it through the regionals, Travis.
Yeah.
How much of a surprise is that to you?
Very surprising, especially when you consider some of the teams that came out of the regionals. You know, for Alabama specifically, it set up pretty well. If you weren't going to host, to go make the short trip over to Hattiesburg. Now, that's not an easy 2-3 game in the opener against Miami, but you got Riley Quick out there, so you feel good about your pitching matchup, regardless of who you see with him out there, and not able to get it done, and then it sort of falls into seeing USM in the elimination game.
Yeah.
I don't think most people had that, but it felt that way in a lot of regionals over the weekend. Maybe it wasn't. It felt like the host teams got in holes early, and then some fought their way out, some didn't. So it's regional action, and I thought for Alabama they had opportunities in that USM game. Their best players were in position to really close that game out, whether it was on the mound or at the plate, and they didn't get the job done, so they're gone. But sure, Vanderbilt going out, Florida went out on the road. Some of those perennial powers from the SEC, it didn't work out so well for them.
Yeah, boy, no kidding. 13 entered, only 4 standing as of today, but it sure should be a really exciting remainder of college baseball, to say the least. Travis, I don't know if you follow or familiar, Barry and I were talking about this earlier, the Football Power Index. I'm not sure what goes into it, what numbers are crunched, but if you're an Alabama fan, I saw a poll where the teams most likely to win the 2025 national championship, Alabama had the 4th best percentage to do that. There again, don't know what goes into the FPI, but if you're an Alabama fan, you got to like those numbers.
Yeah, I think if you're an Alabama fan after last season, though, you're hearing all this. You're seeing PFF have Alabama's offensive line as the top returning offensive line in the country. You're hearing about these power rankings that have Alabama as a top 4 team in the country. And I think for a lot of fans, the resounding response to that is put it on tape. It heard a lot about this last year. Things set up nicely, even though you were going through a coaching change for all time, a coaching change, and going from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer, continuing to hear very positive things. They've held this team together pretty well through some portal windows. They've added some nice pieces to it in the process. So yeah, here we are again, similar to last year. I think a team that's set up to make a deep run, but same kind of team last year, won 9 games.
Yeah.
So it's more of a put up or shut up year, I think, in year 2 for Kalen DeBoer.
Well, let's ask it in this sense. 9 wins last year. And when Bama fans, there are programs in the country that would be whistling zippity doo-dah out of their sides of their mouth if they're 9 wins. Alabama, they're saying it like they've just, eaten a raw onion or something like that. Take that into account. Take, a really strong men's basketball team, but it didn't make it to the Final Four. Women's basketball makes it to the tournament. Baseball makes it to the tournament, wins, I think, 41 games.
Mm-hmm.
In its entirety, the academic year for University of Alabama athletics, how would you characterize it, Travis?
Okay. I'd say it was okay. Yeah, I would say this about basketball. It was still only the 3rd appearance in the Elite 8 all time. So it's interesting where we are with basketball after the last couple of years, how quickly that's changed in terms of expectation and standards. And that goes back to Nate Oates and just the revelation he's been in that spot. So, basketball for me was kind of the pinnacle still, even with coming up short of the Final Four by a game. I thought they at least played to their seeding in the NCAA tournament, right? I mean, they were 2 going in.
Right.
which they played to. So they didn't fall short of kind of expectations. Now, going back to last preseason, maybe they did, but such a strong league. That's one area where the SEC lived up to it, I would say, throughout the sports calendar year was men's hoops. You had a national champion out of that. You had a couple Final Four teams. So for sure, I'd say they met up to the expectations as a league, and also for Alabama. But yeah, I'd just say it was it wasn't the most dynamic year, dominant year for the University of Alabama athletic department. But I'm sure the bottom line still looks pretty good. And, we'll see what this next year holds. But it's going to start with football, because the expectation is still going to be going into the fall that this should be a college football playoff team, especially when we're talking about an expanded 12-team field.
Travis, let's go back to football. You mentioned the offensive line. I've heard similar things. Going to be really, really good. Hearing a lot about the wide receiver room. Deep, going to be really, really good. Of course, untested, but very athletic, and a lot of bright side of the quarterback position. What I'm not hearing about is the running back position. Is there an alpha dog that's going to step up? Who's going to be the guy in the running back room?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with Jam Miller, the veteran of that group. Jam isn't a guy that's going to wow you maybe in a lot of ways. I do think he has that sort of ability to get top speed pretty quickly. That said, is he a Gibbs type in terms of home run ability? No. But I think you really feel good about sort of his experience and his willingness to do a lot of things that don't get talked about enough at that position, whether it's pass protection or ball security, things like that. It starts with him. I think the bigger question is, what's the commitment going to be maybe to the running back position? You're going to have all these weapons at wide receiver, which you're right. I mean, your top three, your first three out there are going to be as talented as any top trio in the country when you put them out there. Ohio State, I would guess, and then Alabama will be in that mix. I think Georgia made some additions via the portal with Branch and some of those guys that'll have them up there, although Georgia hasn't made great use of the portal when they have gone there in terms of it playing out on the field. So yeah, that's where I'm most interested. Ryan Grubb coming in there. Part of the beef with him in Seattle was that they didn't run the ball enough, or they weren't balanced enough. So, I'm not even really worried about that. I'm more a situational guy. Fine, if you want to go three wides and kind of sling it around, and understanding that the quick passing game. Problem last year for Alabama, for me, wasn't even so much that they didn't run the ball enough. It was that they didn't have a quick passing game to supplement it, because that just, to me, wasn't Jalen's strength at all. Getting the ball out quick, getting it out accurately to the perimeter, quick game, RPO, that type of stuff. That was it just doesn't happen fluidly enough with Jalen Milroe. I think with Ty Simpson, you could see that improve as far as the quick game.
Yeah, which was so frustrating for Alabama fans to watch, because athletically, Jalen Milroe was so perfectly suited for it. The RPI stuff,
but mechanically as a thrower, it's laborious for him. Sometimes it's
not natural,
a minute, and it's kind of like that motion from a shortstop in baseball. Bryce Young was so good at it. Some of the other guys were so good at it. We'll see if Ty Simpson offers, because you've got guys like Ryan Williams on the outside. What we saw mostly from Ryan Williams last year was vertical. I mean, it'd be great, just throw it out there to him efficiently and let him just kind of do his thing after the catch. We still haven't really seen that from Ryan Williams after his first year. So, if you get a big uptick in that to go along with the way this offense is really suited to run the football, then I think a guy like Jam Miller, and they've got depth. But kind of how it plays out after Jam Miller, Richard Young, the rest of those guys, how's that going to work? They went to the portal and got it back. So, that'll be fascinating to watch in terms of usage with those other guys.
Defensively, if there was one area, I mean, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, of those three, hate to use the term, which was going to be the weakest, but maybe which one needs to have a good preseason camp compared to the other two areas on the defense?
I think they're all pretty similar. I mean, you lost some key pieces on the back end, most notably, though, Malachi Moore. Otherwise, you feel like, you're coming with your top two corners back. In the slot, you should be fine. Bray Hubbard, if he's the guy to go along with Keon Sabb, I think he's got a big year potentially in him. Linebacker, I think the bigger question is Deontay coming off the kind of injury he had. And is he really ready when August rolls around, given the timing of his injury last season? So, I might go there if you're going to include the edge guys with him, Quay Rusal, the depth there at that position to go along with Justin Jefferson and Deontay. I might go probably linebacker if we extend out at that position. Defensive line, it's another put up or shut up year. I mean, we've been hearing about the defensive line for 3 or 4 years now.
True.
And there hasn't been that dude. So is it James Smith? Is it LT Overton? That to me, it's not as much of a question mark personnel wise. It's are we really going to see it? Is it going to, as I said earlier, put it on tape? It's a put it on tape season for Alabama, I think.
You watch a lot of tape and all that kind of stuff. I was talking to a buddy of mine who thinks the two biggest rising stars on the Alabama defense, one of them's Quay Rusal. He likes him because Quay grew up in Troy. But the other one, he thinks Bray Hubbard is going to be a star.
I love Bray Hubbard. And I think that, the only question there is pairing him maybe with Sabb, because I think both of those guys excel with what's in front of them. But at that position, you got to be able to take care of what could be behind you. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about making plays over the top. And we even saw Bray do some of that last season, though. So I'm probably even more comfortable with Bray Hubbard in a single safety high sort of scenario and trying to protect sideline to sideline in the vertical passing game as I am Keon. Because I thought from Keon last year, what we saw on multiple occasions, you can influence him a little bit with what's in front of him and then maybe kind of hurt him over the top. But I think we also learned that he was playing hurt for a stretch there in 2024, which certainly could have had something to do with that. So with a healthy Keon Sabb, Bray Hubbard's kind of like Mac Jones was in 2019, just at the quarterback position. Mac got that experience in 2019 that you didn't really want him to get, but in 2020, it worked out perfectly for him. And I think Bray getting the kind of experience he got in 2024 could really pay dividends this season.
I know we're in a holding pattern to some degree, waiting to hear about the House settlement. Nobody wants to make any decisions, but last week in Destin, there was a lot of talk about 9 conference games in football, 16-team playoffs, all other type of stuff. I'm just curious, after all the talk, no decision yet. Hopefully there'll be one soon. But after all the talk, Travis, what are your thoughts? What do you want a 9-game conference schedule? Do you like a 16-team playoff?
I think we've talked about this so many times, and I mean, this was the frustrating part about last week, and understanding the SEC isn't a totally standalone entity. It still is dependent upon a lot of what else is happening around the sport. It can't just come out and say, well, we're going 9 games regardless of where the playoff goes.
Yeah.
As we've talked about, that's going to be contingent upon, really, as much as anything, where we go with the playoff. But last week just sort of reaffirmed that we don't know anything at this point. You said it perfect, John. Talk. A lot of talk, which I thought there were some interesting comments made. I thought Kirby had some interesting takes. I thought he was probably the star of the thing, and you kind of hope that for him, given where he now sits in the pecking order of the deans of coaching in the SEC. So my biggest frustration coming out of it was that we really are going to go through another football season where we're going to talk as much or more about where the sport's headed than where it is. I mean, it's like, some of this stuff may not get hashed out until December.
Right.
Which tells you what the upcoming narrative throughout the football season is going to be about. Just give me the games, man.
Something
That's where
other
I'm
than
at with it all. I don't care if they play 8. I don't care if they play 13. I just want the football,
just
and I understand
play.
there's massive economics involved. I understand all that. But it was like, to me, it felt like Weekend at Bernie's,
Yeah.
Just keep propping it up,
Weekend at Sankey's.
Yeah.
And it was like, we didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
It was great. I hope everybody played some golf or, got some sun, because it was just felt like a throwaway week.
Yeah, no question. Was this even necessary? Well, next week on the program.
I did want to ask you about this. Speaking of golf, I know you're a golf enthusiast. Barry was rolling off some names earlier today of some guys that had to qualify or try to qualify to make the U.S. Open.
It was beautiful. Yesterday was beautiful.
I'm thinking,
Ricky Fowler and Max Homa, Kevin Young.
Yeah, Eric Cole. They were all in the same group yesterday. They were playing a 5-for-1.
They're carrying their own bags.
Yeah,
wow.
it was like 10 Cup in real life.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
We're going to hit you hard next week about Oakmont and the U.S. Open.
I had that sort of split screen option on YouTube TV where you could watch The Longest Day in Golf on Golf Channel, and then have I actually watched the Women's College World Series last night too, because Texas Tech, Oklahoma was incredible theater there at the end. But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, and the great thing is, these qualifiers are coast to coast, so it's like 10 Eastern, and I'm still watching a 2-for-1 playoff at Valencia Country Club in Southern California. It was right up until
some 16-year-old kid firing back-to-back 63s in Atlanta.
I'm like, is this a pitch and putt out
Travis?
Near
well,
I
played that golf course probably 20 times, and I'm thinking 63. There's no way. I mean, it is a track, and this kid just tore it up.
Mom drops him off in the parking lot, probably,
Yeah. I mean, you got Blades Brown. He's down in the one in West Palm that they're finishing today. He's 17 years old, got a chance to come out of there. Yeah. It's just, it's nuts. It really is.
We'll hit it hard with you next week as Oakmont looms in a week.
Travis, that's the reward. Go get your teeth kicked in by Oakmont. Congrats. Nice job.
No kid, have fun.
Appreciate you being here. Yeah. Reier on YouTube. Travis Reier, what's in store this week for all that you do?
Yeah, we'll be talking some SEC football for sure on the channel. So right there on YouTube, Reier on YouTube. You can also catch me on X at Travis Reier, TravisReier.
Outstanding. As always, Travis, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Great stuff. Travis Reier on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Always enjoy that. Couple of things I want to expand on from his appearance, as well as Bryan Matthews earlier today. Maybe the Phantom's dog when we get back. Is that
coming up?
Yeah, Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Reed says spin the wheel.
Who is that? Chris the Bammer?
Yes, Chris the Bammer got a new name. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, Reed, just
we'll
hold
get
on.
The wheel.
Be patient.
Wheels coming. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level. And the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 26 minutes past the hour here on this Tuesday, Longshore and McKnight. Check us out on yellowhammernews.com for all of the news, politics, lifestyles, and sports. It's yellowhammernews.com. Couple of things before we get to the Daily Dog. Running back at Alabama.
Yeah.
Heard so much about the offensive line, so much about the wide receiver room. Very impressed with the quarterbacks, even though they're young or inexperienced and or both inexperienced. A lot of hype there, but bear the running back position. And I wanted to get Travis's thoughts because what I'm hearing is just kind of a group of running backs. Nobody's stepped up. Nobody's separated themselves. There's no, if you're looking for a Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs or a Trent Richardson or a Mark Ingram or any of those other great running backs that came through Tuscaloosa under Saban, they're not there. Don't be expecting to see that.
You've got Jam Miller, who's a senior now, whatever that means. Being a senior now means he's probably only got 2 years left after this year.
Wait a minute. I was in my 6th year when I was a senior.
You got, look at the names, listen to the names in the running back room at Alabama. A.K. Deere, who's a freshman from Mississippi. That's who John Dent was asking about. Daniel Hill, Richard Young, Dre Washington, who I know, his name's Draylon Washington. He's a redshirt senior, a transfer from Louisiana Lafayette, where he was okay, I guess. He was just a guy. He didn't lead the league in rushing or anything like that. Okay, A.K. Deere, Daniel Hill, Richard Young, Draylon Washington, Jam Miller, Michael Lorino III from Mountain Brook, a senior, bound to be a walk-on.
Yep.
Kevin Riley, Frederick Moore, Richard Jesse Young, Washington III, a junior transfer from Georgia military. That's it. Those are the Alabama running backs.
Was a guy that we've been hearing about. Oh yeah, this guy's going to be great. Maybe will be. Hadn't seen it yet. Heard a lot about Richard Young. Well, we'll ask Travis about the running back room Rodney on Thursday. I'd really like to get his thoughts along with what Travis had to say today. But I don't know. I don't think you're going to see that breakout running back for Alabama. Could be wrong.
And it's difficult. Even some of the running backs who I think were grossly underappreciated through the years at Alabama, T.J. Yeldon, Kenyon Drake, even Jahmyr Gibbs, I always thought Glenn Coffey was a good running back.
Well, played even those for a while, didn't he?
Even those running backs who were not in the pantheon were still really good running backs. Maybe Jam Miller is that guy. Maybe Richard Young is that guy. I don't know.
Barry, I noticed it last year. We talked about this last year. There's nobody in the running back room that just, you went, wow. This guy is falling in line with all these other great running backs that have played in Tuscaloosa. Jam Miller to me looked slow. He kind of had a Mark Ingram feel to him, but maybe not as fast. Nothing about the running backs impressed me. Now, Bob from Pike Road says I'm dead wrong that Jam Miller's an NFL running back.
And maybe he is. I mean, there's been guys who have been NFL running back service. We've got another guy, Josh Jacobs, who thought he was going to be an NFL running back. Maybe so, but is he again? And Bob knows this, and I'm asking him. You know, you got a young quarterback, an unproven quarterback, whoever it is. How much easier will it be for Ty Simpson or Austin to have a running back that you can? The running backs have changed 20 times a game. Is there a 20 carry a game guy at Alabama? Is it Jam Miller?
I think Travis kind of alluded to it a little bit. You know, that wide receiver room, I think, is going to get a lot of playing time and a lot of plays and a lot of balls coming their way. And I just compared Jam Miller to Mark Ingram just in their running styles, their stats, build. I don't think Jam Miller's Mark Ingram by any means, who's about to be in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Who's the all-time leading rusher in New Orleans Saints history.
Yeah. But there's just not that wow guy. Like, man, when he gets the ball, things are going to happen. I didn't see that last year. And from what I'm hearing, Bob and others, this staff's not overly impressed with the running back room.
Well,
it's not one of their best. And,
one more question.
Somebody's got to step up.
One question here. We'll go to break, and we'll go to the Phantoms Daily Dog. Then we'll go to break, and then we'll hit the topic wheel. Since you were actively comparing either yesterday, late last week, who had the better athletic year overall, Auburn or Alabama? I want to throw this at you because it's something we addressed with Bryan Matthews in a different sense. Yesterday, the College Football Foundation announced the names of their candidates for the upcoming class in the College Football Hall of Fame. We mentioned Auburn, Cam Newton, Tommy Tuberville, Takeo Spikes. Mark Ingram is on the ballot for the Hall of Fame. Who should get in first? Mark Ingram or Cam Newton? Which one?
Well,
who should be in first?
Both won national championships. Both won a Heisman Trophy. Didn't you just mention that Mark is the leading rusher all time at Alabama?
He's the leading rusher all time for the New Orleans Saints.
The New Orleans Saints. Okay. So, and there again, we've had this discussion before. Should your NFL career even factor in? Well, it's not an NFL award. So, I don't know.
Same thing with a Heisman. Well, he was a lousy Heisman Trophy winner because he didn't play well in the NFL. So what?
Could Alabama have won the national championship without Mark Ingram? Because I know Auburn couldn't have won it without Cam Newton.
Well, yeah, I don't think, they could not have won it without Cam. I don't think Alabama could have won it without Mark Ingram. Won the Heisman, 1,600 yards rushing. That leads to our discussion John and I are having about the importance of having a bell cow running back step up this year for Alabama. Ingram was huge that year just because he got the tough yards, wasn't flashy. He got what he was supposed to get. There was never any yards left out on the field whenever he was on, whenever he was running that he did not get. So,
Barry, if it wasn't for that tightrope fumble, there's no discussion here.
Definitely Mark Ingram.
All right. I like Mark. I think he's a good representative. And
I think he
is
on
Big News Saturdays.
I think he's surprisingly good at that. You never know. You never know who's going to. I thought Terry Bowden would be spectacular at it. He was not. Mark Ingram, never really thought about it, but he's great. Love that guy on TV. So,
he does well.
Yeah.
All right, Barry. I know people are thinking, well, he's delaying. Doesn't want to talk about the dog. He's trying to. You just dance over it. Yesterday, Barry, we went into into Major League Baseball. This was bonus baseball. This game went 10 innings out in San Francisco, where the San Diego Padres were plus 155 at the San Francisco Giants last night. Underdog and win the game outright in 10 innings. The Giants were not able to scrape across a run in the 10th. Padres win it 1-0, and the Phantom hits his daily dog on Monday night.
Now, bear in mind that somebody had to call the Phantom and say, hey, Phantom, San Diego finally scratched or won in the 10th, because there ain't no way on God's green earth the Phantom is sitting there watching every pitch of a 10-inning, nothing game until the top of the 10th inning when San Diego lucks up and gets a run across.
Well,
I know that the Phantom said, geez, wait a minute, it's the 8th inning and nobody scored? I can't.
Truthfully, it's been a little like this. You know, Monday nights are Law and Order on BBC, so I was watching Law and Order, completely forgot about the game. So this morning, when I opened up the laptop, got everything set up, the camera's rolling, made sure Barry, he could hear me. I went to the MLB scorecard and went, wow, look at here. 1-0 in the 10th inning.
Yeah.
So that's really how it went down, just to be all honest and whatnot. But that's how we played it last night.
Now,
so
the Phantom will fully acknowledge that at this time of the year, by gosh, you'll take a 1-0 10-inning win if it cashes in for you, because this time of the year, golly, it can't be easy to pick a dog
all day
the
long.
Limited schedule that's going on in sports at the moment.
Well, that's what we're here for. We got to do the work. We got to dig. We got to dig the tough ones out. And we didn't think it was that tough, quite honestly. I mean, it just depends on how you look at it. Okay, 10 innings. Went a little longer than we expected, but when you go
about it, no.
Yeah, when you go cash your ticket, the guy at the window is going to go, "Hey, you really lucked out on this one, man. One run, scratch it across in the 10th inning." He ain't gonna tell you that.
No,
there ain't no way he's telling you.
He's gonna slide that envelope across.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you're asking yourself, what are we looking at tonight, Barry? We're looking at a game that's going to start at 6:10 p.m. Now, I know there are two of them. We're only worried about one of them. This one is taking place in the Natty. The Milwaukee Brewers at Cincinnati tonight.
Like that. The Reds are playing better.
Yeah.
Brewers, 5 games over 500. They're third in the Central. Reds are 4th in the Central, so there are implications. There are flamethrowers throwing tonight. Hunter Green, who throws about 103 miles an hour, is having a good year. He's on the mound for the Reds. Used to pitch at Riverwalk Stadium a couple of times. I saw him one against Freddie Peralta, right-hander for the Brewers. Another guy having a good year. This is a pitcher's matchup. Both pitchers come in with sub-3 earned run averages. This may be a game that kind of trends towards what we saw last night. Pitchers duel, tight till the very end. Somebody makes a play, and the Phantom's a winner again. That's how it would play out.
Yeah. Hunter Green facing off Freddie Peralta. Freddie Peralta tonight, 6:10. I don't believe that if this could be on some local cable access channel, if you can maybe scrounge it up.
FanDuel Sports Network Ohio and FanDuel Sports Network Wisconsin.
Beautiful. Well, Barry, we're going to take Milwaukee on the road at plus 102 tonight. Brewers plus 102 at Cincinnati, 6:10. Take Milwaukee and cash your ticket.
Good to see my good buddy Jimmy Adams checking in. He's watching on Facebook.
Yeah,
Jimmy's been a long-time friend. Saw him a couple of weeks ago. One of my favorites. Although he's one of my favorite people, even though he did start out his text by saying Longshore may be right.
See?
A lot of times that doesn't make the screen when you start off
Jimmy,
that
you're
way,
a smart man.
Hey,
is this a record for the number of chats Theotis has submitted today?
If he was challenged early by John Dent, but John is fallen off a little bit. Theotis is feeling his oats right now. When we come back,
always good to see Bob from Pike Road chiming in as well. I just disagree with you, Bob. I'm not sold on Jam Miller yet. Maybe by October I will be, maybe end of the season, but right now,
and I get what he's saying about Daniel Hill. But again, the only question I've got about Daniel Hill is the only question John's got about him, and Travis has got about him. Put it on tape.
Yeah,
let's see it to see whether we believe in it or not. When we come back, we believe in the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, and it's coming up in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information. Okay, welcome back in. About 16 minutes to the top of the hour. Before we get to the topic wheel, unbelievable, Barry. Not unbelievable. I've seen this before, but since the Phantom dropped his daily dog, this game's all over the board. The line is moving. We still want the Brewers, but now you can get them at plus 110 instead of plus 102. I've seen numbers all across the board here today, and we like the Brewers, but you can get a little bit better value. Is that good news or bad news? I mean, wow, the Phantom releases it and the number goes up a little bit.
All the wise guys, all the sharps, all the guys at, I don't know, the Luxor and Bally's and Harrah's and all that. They're saying, did you see? Phantom likes the Brewers. Oh, but Phantom, the Brewers, you say tonight, right? It's just like wildfire. Wildfire spreads across there. You better get down on the Brewers. Phantom just came out on Longshore and McKnight.
Well, yeah. Don't let that thing move anymore.
It's not so unbelievable to me. Yeah.
All right. I think we have Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel brought to you by our good friends at Victoryland, exit 22 off I-85, Shorter, Alabama. You can be a winner too.
Ooh, we got 6 today, and we got time to get this done. Let's fire them off. Sure. I feel good about today's crop of topics here.
Yeah,
let's get it going, Gurn. Here we go.
Spin it away. Here it goes. Where it lands.
Please don't.
Nobody knows.
Jeez.
17 and a dentist.
I know what this is. Yep. I knew what this was all about. Golf's longest day is the final day of qualifying for the U.S. Open. And yeah, Gurn's perceptive on this one. There's some stories involved in some of these. We already told you about the 17-year-old kid, Mason Howell in Atlanta. 36 holes yesterday, 63 and a 63.
Amazing.
And he qualifies. It's awesome. There's, like he said, there's also a dentist who has qualified.
I can tell you without looking, it is not Doc MBA. No way.
Matthew Vogt. It's not like John's daughter's last name. It's VOGT, and that's it. Matthew Vogt is a qualifier. Okay. Matthew is a dentist. Matthew, and this is why the story could be really good. Matthew grew up caddying at caddying at Oakmont.
Oh.
Matthew Vogt, DDS. I'm looking at a video of him, and whoever the dentist is that worked on those veneers, for him, probably the dentist you need to see. He goes home to Pittsburgh for the U.S. Open, qualified 68, 17-year-old kid, as we mentioned as well. 18 qualifiers qualified in May. Another 47 earned their spots yesterday at 10 sites across America. In Columbus, Ohio, one of the sites, former world number 13 Cameron Young in his foursome, Travis mentioned this, beat Max Homa and Ricky Fowler in a stacked playoff in Columbus to qualify. Mason Howell qualifies in Atlanta. Dentist Matthew Vogt, DDS, qualified, and he knows the course at Oakmont.
I was just about to say
that.
Yeah.
And that's big.
Yep. He knows all the little nuances of Oakmont. That pays dividends for that guy. He probably won't be filling many teeth over the next couple of weeks, honing in his game. Snake a tube down their throat and tell him I'll be there in 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, fine. And 3, 2, and 1.
Dr. Beeper. Yeah.
Playing the same foursome with Wang.
He sure did.
Parking lot, Wang.
He certainly did. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, that's a good one, Gurn. Let's move on to the next topic here on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. As it spins around, let's see where it lands. Barry and I are not familiar with this. We have not seen these yet. They are new to us as they are to you.
Mr.
Baseball. What happened here? What happened?
Shigeo Nagashima passes away.
What? At 89? No way.
89 years old. Shigeo Nakashima.
Look at this. Wow.
Manager of the Yomiuri Giants. That's after the 1994 Central League Championship. There were 2 leagues in Japan, just like the 2 leagues in America. Central League is good. Played with Sadaharu Oh, who's the all-time home run leader.
Oh, sure.
How about that? Shigeo Nagashima passed away. Yeah. Managed for a long time, including managing Hideki Matsui. Man.
So the Japanese
Shigeo,
league,
we hardly knew you, man.
Yeah, we hardly knew you. I noticed, though, in the Japanese league, their uniforms are a lot like the uniforms in Major League Baseball. I mean, there's a Giants there in Japan, I believe.
I wonder about that. There was a great book. I've got it in my in the other room. A great book. I can't remember the author's name. His name's Robert somebody, called You Gotta Have Wa. Look it up, everybody. You Gotta Have Wa. That's a takeoff on the musical Damn Yankees, where he said, you gotta have heart. And wa in Japanese is basically good spirit. Anyway, it details what life is like in the Japanese major leagues. And I wondered about that because, I mean, they've got English words on their jerseys. They've got English words on the scoreboard. They've got English words in their advertisements and stuff. And I mean, they take it seriously. I mean, they've got cheering sections with choreographed cheers with flags and banners and all that kind of stuff. It's a football atmosphere. I'd love to go see a Central League game and out there. And Shigeo Nagashima.
I think that'd be pretty fun. Now, Barry, of course, you're going to have to answer this one because I do not know, but Dennis Mitchell wants your thoughts on the best Japanese wrestler of all time. And he lists several. Go for it.
I don't know about Japanese wrestler. My favorite Korean wrestler was Pak Song. Pak Song, this is a long time ago. Pak Song was about 6'4", looked like he weighed maybe $180. Okay. And he was the man that had the Korean claw, which basically was his hand over your face. And once he squeezed your face with that Korean claw, done. Over. Done. I mean, that was it.
Mr. Soto kind of, that rings a bell. Mr. Fuji from the Japanese Wrestling League, but I don't know, Dennis. Ooh.
Yeah, there's a few. Antonio Inoki, Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know.
Dennis tells us the coach at St. James resigned. Thank you, Dennis. Didn't
he's going to be the offensive coordinator at Spanish Fort or something like that.
Wait a minute. Leaving from being a head coach to a coordinator? Oh,
curious. Definitely curious. Okay.
Gotta make you wonder.
All right. Now we've got to, let's not get distracted by Dennis.
No, let's not.
We got serious business.
Before we spin the wheel, Barry, what are the odds that the last two panels are blue and green?
I'm thinking it happens. They're still, it seems like it happens every time. The final two are always blue and green. You watch. Okay. Let's go.
Let's spin it, Gurn. The Victoryland 777 topic wheel. You can be a winner too. Open 7 days a week in shorter Alabama. The green panel. No, what happened there? Wait a minute.
Hoofing it.
I knew some girls walking back to the sorority. Anyway.
Carrying his own bag after splitting with his caddy, Max Homa, fails to qualify for the U.S. Open. I wonder if that's a thing. We talked about it in our first segment. Max was in that group with Ricky Fowler and Cameron Young in that playoff in Columbus. Max Homa, 6-time PGA Tour winner, $43 million in career earnings. He's something happened with his caddy. I don't know. So he sees it seems to be better than when someone is standing beside me for some reason. So he wanted to be alone for this one. But, oh my gosh, that's got to be a factor right now. Carried his bag for 38 holes.
You got to really want to qualify for the Open. This guy's won a lot of tournaments, won a lot of money. I tip my cap to him. He probably
get somebody to do it, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're not asking them about, lie or yardage or club selection or anything, just get somebody to carry your bag, man.
Yeah, Max, come on. I'd say that
something for the effort. Promise them eternal consciousness, something.
Yeah.
Don't carry your own bag. Let's take a break. And almost got the break before John sneezed.
Yeah.
But when we come back, we'll wrap it up on the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Hey, we're back at it. 5 minutes to go. Get the wheel ready. We're going to knock these 3 topics out. We do not know what they are, folks. You don't know. We don't know. We both see them at the same time. We got to comment on the fly.
Sometimes we figure we react better when we just get, when we think about it too much and all that kind of stuff, it never flows as well.
Yeah,
So we like it better when it just, hits us in the face. All right, here we go.
No doubt.
3 left. I guarantee you it'll be the yellow. Guarantee you the yellow is going to be the next one here.
He's picked up.
Oh, maybe. Oh,
wow.
There we go. Okay. Glad to see it.
Okay. Stanley Cup. Here we're ready. We're getting going. Looking forward to it.
Stanley Cup Finals. Oilers and the Panthers. You've got Edmonton, Miami, Oklahoma City, and Indiana in the big things. Game 1, the final will be played at Rogers Place in Edmonton. I don't know. I know TNT. I know True TV. I know Max. The other ones, CBC, it's a Canadian broadcast. Don't know what that is and everything, but that is a big deal in Canada. 3 straight finals for the Panthers. And they've got some really good players. Obviously, the Oilers carry the hopes and dreams of a nation on their shoulders. It has been since 1994 since a Canadian team won the championship of Canada's game. Anyway, it starts tonight in Edmonton. Oilers and the Panthers. Why do they call them the Florida Panthers? I've always been against that. It's like the Arizona Cardinals or the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Panthers down in the Everglades?
Yes, there are. There are a jillion Panthers.
There you have it.
Why Florida? Why not Miami Panthers? And why not the Phoenix?
They changed. I don't know why they're trying to incorporate the whole state, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Looking forward to the Stanley Cup. Couple more to go. And the wait a minute. Is that blue and green again? Wait a minute.
Oh, it's okay.
So now I see how this is played. It just automatically changes the colors. Oh,
there we go. Okay. All right.
Let's spin
I'm probably going to get in trouble
happens.
with some of my friends because I said D dash 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 about that Broadway and movie about the Yankees. So this one is SH2T happens.
Huh. They used to be a bumper sticker. I think Boris
look at this
came out with that sticker.
Look at this picture. Scheffler with check this out. Check that baby. The small of that child's back. It's coming up in just a moment. Coming around. Poor baby, celebrating and everything. Turn around. Yeah, you'll see him in just a second. Be patient. That's Mom. That's Scotty. They're celebrating. Oh, no.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, come on.
Mom, clean him up before the celebration, Mom.
What about a wet wipe? Come on,
Golly, what are you feeding him anyway? Is that peas? Is that asparagus or something? Golly, Mom.
Man.
You got one job. Make sure the baby's clean and dusted and powdered and dry before you hand them to Dad in front of millions of people.
How did it all get up there? I mean, man, that must have
worked its way up, I mean, she's holding him like this. And
did you not smell it, Mom? I mean, gee whiz. Come on.
Come on.
All right. We got to spin it to make it official here on the program.
Auburn wins the national. No, I'm sorry. Droughts over. This could be anything. Oh, okay. It starts on Thursday. The NBA Finals.
I'm with
Pacers and the Thunder 25 years since they've been to the NBA Finals, and they were not very good. Tyrese Halliburton says, 25 years ago, I wasn't even 6 months old. Ooh. I mean, we've been doing this show the entire time Tyrese Halliburton's been alive. So they're back in the NBA Finals. Never won it. Neither one of these teams has ever won it. I think it's going to be terrific. If you take aside the fact that, these are not very big markets and there's a lot of people who are not going to pay attention to it because it's not the Celtics and it's not the Lakers and it's not the Knicks and it's not the Bulls. I think it's going to be good, John. I'm looking forward to it.
The teams are really good. I really think they're fun and exciting. And based on the ratings this year and in postseason, folks are watching it. So maybe it doesn't really matter what size the market is. We'll see about that.
We know a lot of people are watching us.
Yeah, Terrence says there are Panthers in Fort Lauderdale and in the suburbs of Davie, Sunrise, and Plantation. Don't want to see a Panther.
Hey, I grew up in Florida. I'm telling you, if you go west of those towns he's talking about, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, even down even further south to like Marathon and stuff, you go about 20 miles west of Miami. And I mean, it's the middle of nowhere. I mean, you got Panthers, you got Gators,
Pythons. Barry, when you land at Miami, at the Miami airport, if you're coming in from the west, I mean, you're flying over the Everglades, you're going, where are we landing here?
And then all of a sudden, last minute, boom. You're like, hey, we're going down in this swamp, aren't we?
And it's that first neighborhood you see. I'm thinking, why would you want to live here? You got to know some snake or some wild animal is going to be in your backyard at some point in time. I never understood that when you fly into Miami. All right, tomorrow, our man CJ Duncan back from his honeymoon, scheduled to join us at the top of hour number 2 tomorrow. Josh Harris, the money line magician from north of the border, will join us tomorrow as well, rescheduled from Monday. Also, a lot of other great stuff we're going to get to tomorrow as well. So, got to be here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You never miss any of the information. You never miss anything that we do here.
Many, many thanks for all of you who are viewing and consuming our content and listening and passing the word along, and all of you on our River Region Straw Chat line. Many, many thanks. Bryan Matthews, AuburnSports.com. Travis Reier from Reier on YouTube for being with us as well. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight, our producer, Gurn Jr. Fabulous job. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.